Hey, happy Monday morning. Actually, afternoon. Or morning if you're out on the coast. Anyway, Jim and Sean with you. Sean, hope you had a nice weekend. You know, buddy, I my brackets were not filled with the same four that ended up there. And according to some research I just did from the NCAA.com, they had 600 plus thousand people get involved in the tournament. And only six predicted the final, at least three of the final four. That's what it was. At least three of the final four. So there you go. I'm stunned that six could do that.
Yeah, it's interesting. The guy that has, I'm looking at it here, the guy that's leading the brackets, it looks like he has about, I don't even know, 30 entries, 40 entries.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe he was taking the long shots, although Connecticut wasn't that long shot, was it?
Yeah, he has Houston. I don't know who he has. So he had FAU, UConn, and San Diego State.
Okay.
And Houston.
So he got two of them.
No, he got three.
Three? UConn in there, yeah.
He has Houston winning it, so he's not getting any more points.
No.
Well, he's got FAU going to the final.
So they got a chance to Houston.
That FAU, it could be FAU Miami.
Could be
crazy, but I personally I think UConn is the best team in the tournament left. But
if UConn was just a buzzsaw. They took, they took the team that I think both of us had, Gonzaga, winning it. They took them apart. I mean, that was
everybody apart. Yeah, I mean they've taken everybody apart. They've just.
I think the lowest point spread that they won is 15, and that's rare in tournaments like that. I mean, you usually get one or two close.
They're in a thing with like North Carolina in 2008, 2009. Like I think 90 plus points in the four games they've won by. So they've been clearly the best team. I think San Diego State plays defense.
Very much so.
FAU game is really interesting because they both have 30 wins, and they both, one of those two teams is going to be in a national championship game, which I can't imagine either of them thought at the beginning of the year, but there they are. So
they're I think we've mentioned this before. I don't know if Florida Atlantic is down on the beach there in Boca, right? Yeah, and the headline of the Sun Sentinel this morning said the Beach Boys are back. So I guess they've adopted the nickname the Beach Boys. So good for them. If I'm George Kliakoff at the Pac-12 now, at the Pac-12, my phone call to San Diego State is coming quickly. I've got a Zoom call this morning with my with my presidents going, we got to get these people in here now today. And I'd add, honestly, I know the Big 12 is pursuing Gonzaga, but if I'm Kliakoff, I'm adding them both.
Yeah, no, and San Diego State's good in everything.
Yeah.
They've been really good. Obviously, going back a while, Marshall.
They built a nice little stadium out there for it's called Snapdragon Stadium. And I mean, look, of all the places in the country, I got to say, San Diego is one of the nicest cities to go to.
Yeah, you're losing LA. I mean, at this point, you really got, you need the Southern California presence, I think. So,
right.
San Diego State would be perfect.
And
maybe maybe add UC San Diego as well.
Yeah, you could add Fresno.
Yep.
you got that little going. But they're looking at SMU for some reason. I have no idea. But hey, they got themselves in that mess. I can't get them out. But yeah, that phone call is happening today. I mean, I'm not. I mean, I may wait till Final Four is over and let the Mountain West, have some moments. But on Monday after the tournament's over, I'm adding them as a school. Um, that's no brainer. What did you see in soccer over the weekend?
These games. I watched England play.
Mm-hmm.
Scotland looked pretty impressive. 2 goals from Scott McTominay. Spain looked pretty impressive, 3-0. Croatia gave up a goal, and about as late as you can give a goal up and not win a game. And they tied 1-1 against Wales. Wales literally scored with the last kick of the game. That was Saturday. Sunday, England beat Ukraine. It wasn't a great game. I don't think England played well, but they got enough goals there. Italy beat Malta 2-0. Kazakhstan, Denmark was a crazy game. Denmark was up 2-0 at halftime, and Kazakhstan scored 2 goals in the final 3 minutes of regulation to win the game 3-2 in a crazy, crazy game. After Denmark had picked up a pretty impressive win. So Slovenia leads the group now. Denmark is on 3 points. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Iceland beat Liechtenstein 7-0. Portugal beat Luxembourg 6-0. These games have been not very good, to be honest. Today Ireland plays France at 3:45. Or sorry, is it on now? It might be on now. I thought that was on later, to be honest. See what time that game is. 2:45. I don't know why it says 1:45. Should be an interesting game. Not really much. And then, this is basically tomorrow's the final day. You got Georgia, Norway, Scotland, Spain, Wales, Latvia. And then Wednesday, there's nothing. There's there's Champions League women's quarterfinals, and there's some South American games in Argentina Thursday. Friday, most of the leagues come back. Burnley plays Sunderland. Marseille plays Montpellier. And then, of course, Saturday, you got everything. You got Manchester City playing Liverpool in the first game back, which is huge. Manchester City has to win the game, or basically they're done, because Arsenal will go and win that game later in the day. So
there you go. Stephen Goff, who writes for the Washington Post Soccer.
What's his name?
Stephen Goff, Goff.
Oh, yeah.
He wrote an article skewering the MLS for not taking the same time off as as they do in Europe. And I'm trying to think, well, they only started about 3 weeks ago. Why would you take 2 weeks off just because, the European situation is there?
I mean, I think, you really probably could have gotten away with playing, taking a weekend off, this past weekend off, and maybe playing some games in midweek this week.
Right.
The problem is that, and I know Argentina, Foxy said that they play, but, they're not playing right now. So, you want these players to play for your national team. I mean, you want to get better players, but now you're playing. USA is playing El Salvador today. You're playing these games right in the middle of qualification. So if any of your players are leaving for, if I'm a better team, I probably have better players. So maybe my players are leaving for international duty. So now I got to play on the weekend with a weekend team,
Right.
which I don't necessarily think is really, it's not optimal.
Right.
With the games last weekend, you had LA Galaxy 0-0. Everybody played.
Right.
But you just don't know who was missing players or
Right.
without clicking on every game here. So, LAFC won, St. Louis won again. So, but yeah, no, it's a, if you're not going to be taken seriously if you're playing games at the same time as like, hey, USA's playing, or I can watch MLS. It's
Right.
If your league is that bad now, the leagues that don't take breaks are, who played on Saturday. League One in England, League Two in England, which is what I compare the MLS to in the past, and got pelters for doing it. But you don't. The championship's not even playing. So because the championship knows most of their players are playing in things. So you're opening yourself up to criticism. I understand. You just have the new deal and you got the Apple TV and stuff, and but you could have just not played on the weekend and put a bunch of games on Wednesday and Thursday this week, and then maybe put next week's games Sunday, Saturday, play half the games on Saturday and half the games on Sunday, and then you have that thing where it's Wednesday and Thursday's taken care of. They each have 3 days off. Well, I just, for some reason, they don't like Saturday, April 1st. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 games. There's 14 games, and every single one of them starts at 7:30.
Yep.
So, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games at 7:30 Eastern.
Right.
There's 3 games at 8:30 Eastern. There's 1 game at 9:30 Eastern, and there's 1 and 2 games at 10:30 Eastern. So I know they do that, I guess, for TV, but I would think you'd want to spread the thing out so you got more people watching your app.
Well, in theory, okay, as a former programmer myself, you want to use the college football template, okay? In other words, you got a game at 12:30, a series of games. Maybe you have 3 or 4. At 3:30, you have 3 or 4. At 7:30, you have 3 or 4. And then at 10:30 Eastern time, which is 7:30 on the coast, you have another couple of games. That makes you have an entire day from noon till midnight of your product. If you have to play it on one day, I mean, if that's the way you make it up to be, then fine. Then it's a Saturday, so it's not. I mean, baseball plays on Saturday, in the afternoons. Why not soccer? It just doesn't make any sense.
Basically, yeah. Starting on April 16th,
they do have some midweek games.
They're making up those. No, not until May. There's one Sunday game, April 15th. April 23rd, April 30th, May 7th, and then May 14th, and then May 17th, there's midweek games. Looking for 245 value. What do you think about Poland, Serbia, and I don't know who that third.
Zach Yanni?
See who they're playing. Guinea-Bissau. Again. No, that already happened. Oh, they're playing Ethiopia. See what that line is, Bill.
Who's Poland playing?
Poland plays Albania at home.
Oh, they should win.
They should, yeah. Poland is minus 182. Serbia looked good the other day. Serbia playing. Oh, Serbia's playing Montenegro.
Mm-hmm.
Minus 112. African Cup of Nations. Guinea is minus 167. Yeah, that might be decent. Might pay a little bit. You're looking for 3. I mean, you could probably. Asian lines. You might be able to put Netherlands 3.5 in there, but just it's just dodgy sometimes against, they should crush Gibraltar, but they might still have some players out. Let me see the France lineup.
Sorry, I had to give somebody directions.
I'll tell you what, France, Bill, I would take a chance with France. Their lineup is really strong today. They looked very good the other day. Rolled Netherlands. I know they were down a little bit, but they looked really good, and it's crazy. Their bench right now is Jules Koundé, Tchouameni, Vertu, Kefram Thuram, who's going to be a monster, Kingsley Coleman. I mean, they got some players that could come off the bench. Evan Ferguson's playing up front for Ireland. He had a goal. I still, what is their lineup? 3-4-2-1, but it's going to be like a 5-4-1. They're going to play all behind the ball. I like France a little bit there, so you could probably put France in there at minus 215. Here's what France and Poland is. France and Poland alone is plus 128. So Serbia, Poland, France, plus 333. And add in Guinea. That pays it's paid 6-1 if you put France in there as well. So you could maybe do some different ones like round robin. I don't know if you like round robin, maybe 2-teamer, 3-teamer, maybe with like France and Poland, or mix a couple up. You can do it that way as well. Sometimes I like doing that because you're not putting all your eggs into one 14 parlay basket. So I'm gonna actually put that in.
Good plan. We were talking about baseball, and this week, of course, is opening day. Now, here's how they open the season: Braves and the Nationals at 105, Giants and the Yankees 105, Orioles and Red Sox 210, Brewers Cubs 220, Tigers Rays at 310, and then you got 4:00 games: Phillies Rangers, Pirates Reds, Rockies Padres, Blue Jays Cardinals. Then you move to Minnesota, Kansas City, Mets and Marlins again, 4 p.m. They only have one 7 o'clock game, the White Sox and the Astros. Angels and Athletics at 10, Diamondbacks and Dodgers at 10, Guardians and the Mariners at 10. So they stretch it out all day long.
Yeah, I think that's, again, it's probably optimal to do, especially when you look at the. Let me see. It's one of those. It's a big day for people. I don't know. People might not be staying home, but maybe they'll take a day, a half day, or
Were you talking about opening day?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like the opening day, and then you see kind of like with the schedule today, it's the same thing. Like, it starts at 1:05, and then there's 2 1 o'clock games. There's two 2:15-ish games. There's a 3 o'clock game. There's a bunch of 4 o'clock games. There's a 7 o'clock game. Then there's 3 10 o'clock games. So I mean, kind of what you're talking about with college football and thing. I mean, different windows, and you see what they're doing today with there's the 5 games that are live now, and then there's a 3:10 and a 4:05 and a 4:10 and an 8 and a 9 and a 9:45 and stuff. So I think baseball does a pretty good job with that. Usually, I mean, they'll have those business person specials during the year and stuff.
Get out of town days.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when I used to cover the Thunder, it was they play at 10:30 on Wednesdays. Is great. So you're done. You're gone by it's for the players, but
Sure.
hey, it's business person special, But and then Friday, I always think too, like so Friday, you got a 6:40 game in Miami. Miami starts early. When
Miami and Tampa always start early.
Yeah, I always think that's pretty smart because you get some eyes tuned in. They just.
Well, the theory of the case of starting a game at 6, they start them at 6:40.
Yeah.
Because of television, you can't start 6:30 straight up. Is that if you're downtown and you're working, right? You get off work, you say, okay, I'll go to the ball game. I'll still be home by 10, 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
And so, that's their theory.
I'll tell you, I mean, these, you look at some of these games. I mean, I'm in basically in Philadelphia, but for me to get to the stadium is 35 minutes at, minimum. So, you go to these 7:10 starts or something like that, and I mean, you're not getting home till 11:30, man. You can't do that in the middle of the week. I can't. I mean, it's not really.
Well, I think a lot of teams, I don't know what's gone wrong with the Braves, but a lot of teams schedule most of their afternoon games on a Wednesday or Thursday. And it's for 2 reasons. One, you can get a crowd. And 2, you're going to have to be somewhere either the following day on Thursday or on Friday. So it's easier to get out. Let's say that game that starts at 1 finishes at 5. By the time you get to the airport, it's 7:30. By the time the plane leaves, it's like 8:30, 9 o'clock. And by the time you get in and get to your bed, it's midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. So depending upon where you're playing. So you want to have that playtime, get it over with, because you're going to spend the rest of the day traveling.
Yeah, the Braves have been 7:20 starts. So
yeah, and the Braves they screw you big time, because what happens is you end up, if you have if that game goes past 11 o'clock, you're not leaving Atlanta, because remember the new stadium's way out.
Yeah.
From the airport, so you leave Hartsfield probably 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, and get into Philly. Let's say that's where you're going. Get to Philly in time for breakfast. Then you got to play that night.
Yeah, that's a little bit. I mean, I don't know.
Their theory has always been, well, it's too hot. Well, Ask Texas.
Yeah, well, I don't understand what 10 minutes is going to do.
Right. It's too hot to play in the afternoon. Okay. Have you been to Texas? Have you been to Arlington in the summertime? They don't have a dome and it's hot. We used to have trouble with cameras melting. So yeah, it's pretty hot. So I don't know. I do think that they've got to figure out a way to maximize that schedule. And since Saturday, they would only be up against baseball. And if you put the Premier League in early, right? You could literally wake up in the morning, watch your favorite Premier League team play, and then either go out to or watch some MLS, and it's all day long.
I don't understand why they don't have games lined up right after the Premier League 12:30 match ends on the East. So
Right.
3:00. Look, let them watch the post-match show, and then have something right away. 3:00. Hey, I'm going to switch over.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the thing. I mean, once I'm whatever, I watch the match and thing, and then I go start to do stuff. I'm done. I'm not coming back and watching MLS game at 7:30 or I don't know. I put it on it if I'm like in bed or something like that, or just relaxing, but I'm not like rushing home to watch it. I mean, if there was another match, I'm like sometimes if I'm just hanging around, that hey, all of a sudden there's a La Liga match at 3:00. Oh, I'm not doing anything. Or PSG's playing at 2:45 because PSG always plays, in that later match as well. I mean, they're smart about that. They put PSG on it at that time. They put Barcelona or Real Madrid on it those times, and people, I'm gonna sit and watch it.
Well, I mean, let's go back to the analogy of college football. That Alabama is not going to play at 12:30. Okay, that's their noon start. That's not going to happen. Okay, that's the Kentucky window. Okay, you might get lucky and you might get a Penn State game at noon. If on the Big Ten, those 3:30 and 7:30 windows are the most important. So you got a new team in St. Louis, put them at noon. And go. Schedule yourself to where your marquee teams are playing, in your 2 or 3 different marquee slots.
Yeah,
don't burn them in the morning because nobody's watching. So, and actually, in fairness, St. Louis has gotten off to a very good start.
Yeah.
So there's that. But yeah, it's pretty amazing. And I know that the folks at Apple TV are happy that they got the contract, but I don't know necessarily they're so happy at the times that. Again, a streamer's different than a network. Okay, you can go and you can find the stream and you can watch the stream. Okay, and I know from the IPTV situation, we've all had that routine where you can watch wherever you want, whenever you want. Watch it live. So that's cool. But, for me, flipping back and forth between streams of one 7:30 game and another 7:30 game, you're always either a bit late for the goal or a bit early for the goal. You're never there when, the goal actually is happening.
Yep.
So it does make for an interesting bit of a mess in that regard, but hey, they knew the job was dangerous when they took it. But they need to think that way. Think of marketing, and you think that families would go out on a Saturday afternoon for a ball game, for a soccer game. Maybe the kids play in the morning and they go to the game afterwards.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, they used to do. I mean, the Union used to play, midday games. I remember going to some when it was not dark out. So
now their stadium's down closer to Jersey, right?
Nah, it's along the river in Chester. It's
okay.
Yeah, it's for me. It's like a hour drive. It's crazy. I mean,
Whoa.
Philly, yeah. I know.
Might as well go to New York.
Yeah. I have
Closer.
no interest in going because it's too far, to be honest. I mean, if they end up putting the state, they're putting the
Why they put it over in Chester?
I don't know. Probably cheap to build, but I mean, if they do what they're doing with the Sixers and stuff and putting the arena downtown, that'll be different. I'll go to more games, but not. It's too far for me.
Yeah. Well, they've decided to, basically do what they can. See, a piece of the ceiling at Madison Square Garden fell out during the game, the Kansas State game the other day. And,
Really?
Yeah, it hit one of the media members on the back. Fortunately, it was just a small piece of the roof. Maybe they should rename it the world's most dangerous building.
I'd be lying on the ground saying pay money.
Yeah, I can't see. I can't, whatever. Oh man. That's a mess. That's totally a mess. So anyway, it's how's the vibe in Philly for baseball for opening day? Philly's always been a good opening day place for baseball.
Where do they open in Texas, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's a little bit tampered because every time you turn around, somebody's getting hurt. So, I think based on last year, there's probably some positivity going in, but they are a little banged up. So
yeah, what's the hottest story in Philly these days?
Probably Embiid and the Sixers, I would think. Just the way they're playing. And they're trying to chase down. They've lost 2 in a row here, so the momentum's kind of. I mean, I think they still won 7 of the last 10, like in front of them. 7-3. I mean, but the Bucks, Celtics, and Sixers have all been 7-3, and the Cavs are actually been 8-2, won 4 in a row. So all of a sudden now, the Sixers, the Cavs have 3 more losses. They've actually played more games here. So, the Sixers got to make some games up here down the stretch. And the Sixers will probably finish third. But, that race at the top now, the Celtics once again won 3 in a row. So, they're 2 back in the lowest column. They're 1.5 games back total. So the race at the top is pretty tight. I think, I don't know if anyone wants to play the Knicks. If the Knicks are healthy in that first round, that 4-5 game, the 3-6 right now would be Brooklyn, but the Heat are tied with Brooklyn. So, they'll pass Brooklyn, I would think. So, I think just the Sixers, but, until the Sixers do something in the playoffs, it's always the same story. So
get there, but don't do anything.
Yeah, they got to do something. I don't think they will. I think the Bucks are the best team in basketball here. They're, if the Bucks end up, if they end up with home court here, and they're healthy, I don't see anybody beating them. Although, Cleveland's 30-8 at home. Yeah. So that's the second best record, or Denver's 31-6, and Memphis is 32-5. But and Golden State is 30-8, but they can't win on the road. So Cleveland, I think that Cleveland team's a little dangerous here. If they got up to third somehow, which I don't think they will, but if they, if they get fourth and then have to play, Milwaukee or Boston in that second round, I think that could be tough.
It's a big battle going on in hockey for the playoffs. The Bruins have clinched their division. So the Atlantic Division goes to them. The Leafs are 10 points. Oh, yeah. The Leafs are 20 points behind. And then the Lightning 7 points behind the Leafs. So seeds, Bruins, Maple Leafs, and Lightning are probably going to stay the way it is in that division. Metropolitan, Hurricanes, and Devils have clinched spots. Rangers are in the third spot. The wild card is the Islanders and Pens, with the Pens leading the Panthers, Sabres, and Capitals by about 4 points as we get crazy into that. And then let's see what we got on the Western side. The Wild, the Avalanche, and the Stars are literally within a point of each other. The Golden Knights in the Pacific Division have the most points in the division, so they're at 98 points. But they're only 2 points ahead of the Kings and 7 points ahead of the Oilers. And the wild card, the Kraken, release the Kraken. The Kraken and the Jets are within 3 of each other. Kraken 88 points, the Jets 85, Flames 81, Predators 80, and the beat goes on from there. But yeah, that's your look at the hockey potential playoffs picture as of today. And we know who the Sweet Six and the Final Four is. And there was a bit of a conflict in the end of the FAU game with Creighton. And they went back today, looked at it, and the NCAA officiating said the ball that was supposedly, didn't go out of bounds, did go out of bounds, and there wasn't any time on the clock anyway. So there was no controversy. Creighton lost the game. So there you go. That's the up-to-date sports stories. It was definitely crazy. Definitely a crazy day yesterday in that tournament, without any question. It has really come a long way. And, you got Lamar Jackson said he's requested to be traded from the Ravens. Again, that shouldn't surprise anybody. Dan Hurley is getting some love. Larinaga is getting some love, which he should. Jim Larinaga's done a heck of a job down in Miami, which is not ever known for a basketball school. Well, I take that back. When Rick Barry was there in the 1960s yet. Kyrie Irving, that's not working. The men's team, intense battle against tricky El Salvador. Okay, now is that just plain old hype to get people to watch it, or is that actually true?
They should win that game pretty easily, but it could be a little tricky. It just depends. But yeah, they won 7-1 the other day, so
they should be cool.
Yeah, they should win that game easily.
Well, you got anything else you'd like to chat about, or what would you where do we go from here? There.
Pretty good. I think we covered most of the stuff today.
Yep. Amadeus will be back with us tomorrow. For those of you missing him, he has allergies, and anybody who's had allergies, as we all have, knows that it's not pleasant. So we'll see Amadeus tomorrow. We didn't cut him out. He'll be back, and he didn't go to Vegas. And I'm pretty sure he didn't have that Final Four that's out there. But
no.
If he did, we may never see him again because he would be a very rich man. So we'll see from that standpoint. But anyway, any final thoughts, Sean, before we jump out of here?
No, I think we're pretty good.
Okay, cool. We will see you guys tomorrow at 2:00. All right. Till then, I'm Sean.